What's up, fight fans? In today's video, we are counting down the most destructive fighters in UFC history. These are the fighters who have the power to end a fight with a single slam, kick, or submission. Any opponent is fearful to fight them because of the identity and persona they have created. Our first fighter is one of the most intimidating welterweights in UFC history, Carlos the Natural-Born Killer Condit. Condit won 30 of his 32 fights thanks to a great talent for finishing opponents by knockout or submission. With his destructive striking and quick submissions, he was a name to be believed within the octagon. He really displayed his destructive power and skills in his battle with Rory MacDonald at UFC 115. Condit finally won over MacDonald in the third round of their combative duel after landing a flurry of blows.
Pushing off, trying to hit with kicks. That's it. And it's all over.
His performance established his place in UFC history and provided him with an opportunity at the welterweight title. Next up, we have Francis the Predator Ngannou, the UFC heavyweight champion. Ngannou has unmatched raw power, winning 11 of his 16 matches through knockout. It's easy to understand why he has been nicknamed the hardest puncher in UFC history. He showed his destructive power in the UFC 218 knockout of Alistair Overeem. Ngannou knocked Overeem to the ground with one ruthless uppercut.
Oh, goes the Reem!
And the MMA world took notice of him right away. Anderson the Spider Silva, a renowned violent fighter, must be included on any list of destructive fighters. With 34 of his 46 victories coming by means of knockout or submission, Silva is regarded as one of the most successful fighters of all time. His striking was superb, with razor-sharp precision and enormous power. However, his front kick knockout of Vitor Belfort at UFC 126 cemented his legacy in the organization. With one quick kick, Silva knocked Belfort to the ground and astounded the MMA community with his skill and accuracy. Former professional mixed martial artist Mark Hunt, also known as the Super Samoan, participated in the UFC's heavyweight division. In his career span, he won 13 fights and was defeated in 14. Hunt is renowned for his enormous toughness and chin. Mark Hunt's strength, timing, precision, and body weight are his weapon in the octagon, which differentiates him from his opponents. He is renowned for his great punching power, his ability to lower his level by leaning downward and tossing his arm in a looping arc defines his fighting technique. His win against Stefan Struve is considered one of the best heavyweight fights in UFC history, as Mark Hunt had a height disadvantage against Struve but still managed to be victorious after the 5-round battle. Israel, the last stylebender, Adesanya, the current middleweight champion of the UFC, is up next. Adesanya's impressive strikes and unconventional fighting style have made him a fan favorite. He has shown to the world repeatedly that he has the ability to end fights, with knockout or technical knockout making up 16 of his 20 victories. His most outstanding performance was when he brutally knocked out Alex Pereira at UFC 287. Because of his superior striking ability, Adesanya quickly emerged as one of the UFC's most feared competitors. Khabib Nurmagomedov, or should I call him the Eagle? Khabib will always be remembered for his unbeaten streak of 29 wins, which made him rank among the legends of UFC. Khabib is considered one of the finest lightweights in MMA history. Khabib's pressure through striking, leg control, and clinch game are very superior to his opponents. Outside of the octagon, he is a modest, soft-spoken person who places a high priority on his family and his religious convictions. Two of Khabib's best matches were his submission victory over Conor McGregor in 2018 and his commanding display against Dustin Poirier in 2019. Throughout the history of the UFC, Khabib, the Eagle, will be remembered as a dominant and fierce fighter. A well-known fighter in the UFC's light heavyweight division, Alexander Gustafsson. He was renowned for his excellent striking prowess and heavy punches. He knocked out or forced his opponent to submit in 18 of the 22 contests he won. His most illustrious match took place at UFC 165 when he took on reigning champion Jon Jones. Gustafsson put up an outstanding performance.
Jones was in attendance that night. Gustafsson again pushing forward.
Posing Jones with the toughest test of his professional career.
To be very comfortable here in the first round.
Good combination by Gustafsson. Look at that. Dose.
Gustafsson proved to be a dangerous fighter in the UFC despite his narrow loss. One of the most physically commanding wrestlers to ever enter the octagon was Brock Lesnar. Lesnar, who was over 265 pounds and stood over 6 feet 3 inches, was a challenging opponent to face. He had the strength, power, and skill to end fights rapidly. Of his 6 wins, 5 were achieved through knockout or submission. At UFC 100, where he won against Frank Mir in an eagerly awaited rematch, he turned in his most impressive performance.
A shot. And now Frank is protecting his face with his hand.
Because of his natural strength and power, Lesnar became a fan favorite, and no one will ever forget his impact on MMA.
And it is all over! He's out. Brock Lesnar!
Conor McGregor, another first-round win!
Former Irish fighter Conor McGregor gained recognition for his violent and aggressive fighting style as well as his arrogant persona.
Fuck your whole hand. Little crackhead ass.
He was one of the most controversial competitors in UFC history, frequently using foul language
Get the fuck out of here!
and getting into physical altercations with both rivals and fans.
Mate, shut the fuck up.
Conor McGregor's style made him an immediate sensation when he entered the world stage. While in the octagon, he had a wide stance, so he could easily move in and out of range. The Irishman's ability to put opponents to sleep with his Celtic cross made him one of the greatest weapons in UFC history. Marcus Brimage, Diego Brandao, Dustin Poirier, and Jose Aldo, just to name a few, were all completely blown away by the lightning speed and precision of his left, which renowned TriStar coach Firas Zahabi once referred to as the touch of death. His 22 wins and 5 losses in the UFC, 19 of which were by knockout,
And that's it, Neil Horn has pulled a hold. Looking to finish the fight. That's it.
established his reputation as a strong striker.
Finish him here. Conor McGregor.
Georges St Pierre, often known as GSP, is a former UFC 2-division champion and veteran Canadian mixed martial artist. Of the 28 fights GSP participated in, he won 26 of them while just losing 2, with 8 of his wins coming by way of knockout and 6 by way of submission. St Pierre is recognized for his flexible fighting technique, which combines his karate and wrestling training to deliver strong takedowns and attacks. He became famous for his excellent conditioning and capacity for style adjustment. The greatest fighters in UFC history will always feature GSP, and his influence on the sport continues to this day. GSP fought a number of big fights across his career span. Among the fan favorites is his fight with Matt Hughes at UFC 65, where GSP won the title of the welterweight championship.
Great job of scrambling out of that Hughes.
Oh, Superman punch caught him. Hughes is stumbled.
Matt Hughes is hurt.
And the round is over. Finish it.
He's big time hurt.
With the elbows, Georges St Pierre is the new welterweight champion.
Additionally, he defeated BJ Penn twice in historic contests, first by decisive unanimous decision at UFC 94, and later by split decision at UFC 58.
Comes Baby J, final minute, and another takedown by St Pierre.
Rush St Pierre!
GSP's matchup with Dan Hardy at UFC 111 served as a showcase for his grappling skills as he successfully submitted with an armbar in the decisive round.
Not good for Hardy at all. Hardy trying to hold on.
He turns over.
Nicely done, Dan Hardy! Turning into the single again.
His comeback win against Michael Bisping at UFC 217, where he won the middleweight belt after a 4-year absence from the sport, was one of the most eventful moments in his career.
He heard it go. All out for the finish here. Has done it! He is the new UFC middleweight champion!
In the UFC heavyweight division, Derrick Lewis, who has a professional record of 26 victories and 11 losses, is evidence of his dominance in the octagon. He is known as the Black Beast because of his massive power and aggressive fighting style.
Lewis gonna finish it right here.
Big shots. Derrick Lewis, Derrick, why'd you take your pants off?
My balls was hot.
I understand.
In his win against Curtis Blades at UFC Fight Night 185, he tied the record for most knockouts in UFC heavyweight history.
Lewis punching his way back to the center, counter strike for Blades.
That's it. That's nice work.
Kicks each other's radar.
No questions asked.
Do you believe it?
Derrick Lewis is included in the list of the best heavyweight fighters.
Tied for the most in UFC history. None bigger than knocking out number 2 in Vegas tonight.
With a record of 24 wins against just 4 losses, Justin Gaethje is one of the top lightweight fighters in the world. His unique fighting style and abilities set him apart. Gaethje displays many different skills and is a former lightweight World Series of Fighting champion. In the octagon, his undeniable trust and confidence in his skills makes his opponents fear him. His best fight, without any doubt, was against Tony Ferguson in the UFC, where he dominated Tony for 5 rounds and ultimately earned a TKO victory.
Oh, man.
Stung him.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, Tony's hurt. He's hurt real bad.
Oh, he's hurt bad. They're going to stop the fight.
That's it.
Oh, man.
Justin Gaethje
He just beat him
stops Tony
up, bro.
Ferguson in
Wow.
round 5. He's the
That is
UFC's
the most
heavyweight
amazing-
champion.
Legendary fighter Wanderlei Silva is renowned for his brutal fighting style and extraordinary prowess in mixed martial arts. His record is remarkable, with 35 victories, 14 defeats, and 1 draw. Strong knees, vicious strikes, and an amazing capacity to completely overwhelm his opponents with pressure all define Silva's fighting style. He has competed against some of the top fighters in the world during the course of his career, including Quinton Jackson, Chuck Liddell, and Dan Henderson. In one of his most memorable matches, he defeated Brian Stann at UFC on Fuel TV 8 in 2013 via knockout in the second round. He showed amazing heart and grit in the contest. Future generations of fighters will continue to be motivated by Silva's abilities and accomplishments, which have established him as one of the greatest fighters in MMA history. This concludes our video on the greatest fighters in history. We truly hope you enjoyed seeing this video and discovered something new about the legendary combat fighters. Please subscribe to our channel if you thought this content was worthwhile and if you want to see more engaging and interesting videos like this. In the comments box below, please share your thoughts and ideas for upcoming videos. As you leave, let us know about your favorite or the most memorable fight you have ever seen. Please tell us in the comments. See you at the next one.